This is the Coins, Cashflow, and Conversations podcast. I am your host, Dakota Grady, sponsored by Upstate East Central Solutions. If you need help with accounting and taxes and personal finances, contact me today at dakotagrady.com. So I'm here today with Nurse Tifany, who is a telemedicine-preneur. I guess that's right. And I want to have her on the show today, talk about her business and why nurse practitioners should start a telehealth business, and I want to see how we can help you in your business. So without further ado, Nurse Tifany, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So tell everyone about who you are and what you do, Nurse Tifany.
As he has mentioned, I'm Tifany. I'm Tifany Brown. I'm a certified family nurse practitioner. In 2020, I launched a telehealth practice and I grew that practice into 10 different states. I've also worked full-time for a telemedicine startup practice at the same time in 2020. So I've been in telemedicine waist deep since 2020. And as my business kept on growing, it kind of gained traction on social media. So other practitioners started reaching out to me asking, like, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? Like, I want to be able to do what you do. So I started just accepting, some discovery calls, pick my brain, and then one thing grew to another. And now I have an entire platform called Telehealthpreneur. And I help practitioners, not just nurse practitioners, we have physicians, physician assistants. So I help practitioners start a telemedicine practice.
So was it your business was born out of the pandemic? Is that fair to say?
My yes. Well, it is fair to say that I had the thought of starting a telemedicine practice before the pandemic actually hit. But because of the pandemic, obviously it shed light on telemedicine a lot. So patients in general just understood what it meant a little bit better when you said, I can help you virtually. Like they understood, oh, you really can be helped virtually since most of their providers went virtual during COVID. So it did help a lot as far as patients understanding what all we can do through a computer screen.
So when other NPs come to you or practitioners come to you, what are they seeking for in their total guidance?
Most have researched the idea of nurse practitioners or physicians, practitioners in general, starting their own virtual practice online. They have either seen some of their colleagues doing it, or their employers have them doing telemedicine as a part of their full-time job now. And so at some point it kind of kicks in like, I wonder if I can do this myself. So that's usually how it starts. There's a lot of information online now about how practitioners can start telemedicine practices, but the difference between the information that's online and what I have in my academy is the experience part. So there's, of course, basic 1 through 10 steps that you can give a practitioner. And while they're taking every single step in that 1 to 10 blueprint, there's probably 50 questions that come up at each step, and there's no one to answer them. So a lot of the practitioners in my program, they actually have done their due diligence. And I mean, they've joined other courses, they've taken webinars, they've hired business coaches, they've worked with these software companies that say that they'll give them everything like a turnkey product. Like they have tried to do it all. And ultimately, it doesn't teach them how. It teaches them what they need, but not that how. And so I think my experience since I worked for a telemedicine practice that had the big coins and the big money to pay for the big marketing and the big attorneys, I kind of had a different insight. And so I was able to get my practice up and going a lot quicker than probably some. And so I took that knowledge and then the expertise from my experience of actually being an entrepreneur, which is a whole game changer alone. Forget running a practice, just being an entrepreneur in general. So I took both of those and I'm like, everything that I wish I had someone right next to me telling me while I went through this process, I put into the program that I now use to help other practitioners.
That's pretty clean and pretty dope right there. So does someone who start to practice, I know certain states are limited in terms of them practicing,
Yeah.
in terms of scope. Do you have the same limitation being a telemedicine-preneur as
Yes.
well?
Yes. So telemedicine, I like to say that telemedicine is just a different vehicle of giving care. It's the same laws, though. We have the same laws and the same regulations. It's just our boundaries, our physical geographical boundaries are extended. So if you require a collaborative physician in the state that you're in, like at your full-time job, then if you plan to practice to start your telemedicine practice in that same state, then you need a collaborative physician. But the thing is that I think a lot of practitioners don't realize that you can get a collaborative physician outside of your full-time job. Like you can find a doctor who is willing to sign your charts, who is willing to go into a supervising agreement with you, and you can keep going. So using that as a hard stop, like, oh, I'm in a restricted state, I can't do that. No, it's either you hungry enough to figure it out or you don't really want it and that's the excuse you want to use, then that's fine.
So I recently talked to a practitioner, and she was saying about the MSO, the Management Service Organization.
hmm
How does that play into having a telemedicine business as well?
So when you're not doing, okay, the MSOs are usually used for nurses who want to own their own business or a nurse practitioner who wants to own a med spa because the medical practice, a lot of states do not allow nurse practitioners to practice medicine. However, a lot of states allow nurse practitioners to practice nursing and advanced nursing under our degree and our scope, we can prescribe, diagnose, and treat. So as long as we're not doing what they determine as practicing medicine, which is usually laser, it's like the aesthetics. It's usually the aesthetic side. So as long as you're still geared toward, let's say, family NP or whatever your certification is in, as long as you're staying within those lines, then usually a MSO is not needed. Now, a MSO may be needed if you are practicing in a state that not only still has the law of uh, corporate law of medicine. So there are states that have the corporate law of medicine that don't implement it. And then there are states that have it and they implement it. So if you are in one of those states, you either go into an MSO or, I mean, an MSA as an MSO, or you get licensed in another state and practice virtually in a state that doesn't require all that paperwork.
Yeah, I was like learning about that. She was telling me about the PC, I guess the professional company or
Yeah,
corporation
so
in MSO. So like
that
really
NP sounds like
interesting.
she's in California. Because
She is.
Yeah, California is one of the trickiest states to start a business, a medical practice as a nurse practitioner. They have the strictest laws and regulations, and they keep adding it, which is also why I don't advise doing that by yourself, because if you're not abreast of the changes, then you're going to be doing it one way just to find out, oh, they changed it 6 months ago. So yeah, it definitely sounds like a California thing.
It is. So I want to talk about real quick. What are some of the advantages of having a telehealth business compared to a
Yeah.
physical business?
Mm-hmm. The obvious biggest one is not having to physically be present in a location in order to generate revenue. So if you're working full-time and your normal full-time job is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5:30, which is really 6:30 to 7, then you are thinking to yourself, how in the heck will I be able to be inside of my clinic to see clients? And so it takes away that part first. When I started my practice, I was working full time at not my telemedicine job, I was working at my full-time job as a GI nurse practitioner, and I rounded on patients in the hospital. I saw about 50 patients a day. And even with seeing 50 patients a day, I was still tending to my patients on my phone at my full-time job, or I would have I'd be on the computer and I'd have a window open for my practice and a window open for my full-time job. So I was able to grow my practice without sacrificing the loss of my revenue as a from my full-time job because I could do both of them right next to each other. It didn't require me to physically be there. So that's a huge one. Overhead costs. I mean, rent these days is for a little office. Like a lot of people want to start super big. I want 5 offices, a receptionist desk, blah, blah, blah. But you don't realize that just because you open up a place doesn't mean people are going to come in. So now you're paying $3,000-$4,000 per month and you have no money coming in. So if anyone wants to start a physical business, I always say start virtually first. People, it's so much easier to add on an office than to take away an office, like to shut down an office. So if you realize that, okay, my telemedicine practice is booming, I'm making enough money to cover rent without having to worry about it, then you can be like, okay, I'll open it because I'm not dipping into my personal money anymore.
That's good. Now, talk about the challenges though of having a telemedicine business.
Um, Probably the biggest challenge is not understanding marketing. So when you are in a telemedicine, when you own a telemedicine practice, it's much different than a brick and mortar because people aren't driving by your office. You're not being published in the local neighborhood newspaper. You're not walking around to the local businesses, knocking on their door saying, hey, we have an urgent care down the street. It's completely different. And so if you don't understand the digital marketing, online marketing side of it, then your practice will unfortunately fall into the sea of redness of telemedicine companies. And then, so that's one. The second one is being too broad, being too general. Like virtual urgent cares don't do well anymore because the corporations have taken over that. The insurance companies have taken over that. So not establishing how you're different than their primary care provider or how you're different than the person that they go see every day I mean, not every day, but every quarter for their checkups, like what can you do differently for them? And I think that that's a missing piece that a lot of people don't even know that they need. So it's not to blame them. It's just that we aren't taught that. We're providers. We are taught to treat everybody. But in this world of virtual online practicing, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, that marketing piece it can kill any business. Marketing
Yeah,
can.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. So I want to encourage you to talk to somebody who maybe like you were when you started your practice and maybe discouraged. They see that there's opportunity, but they don't know where to go, where to start.
Hmm.
Give them encouragement and motivate them, please.
Okay. So basically, you're going to be scared. It's scary. I'm scared every time I want to do something new in my business, I'm scared. So coming out of our shell as providers where we are very science-based and we are like task-oriented, it's innate in us. Um, Becoming an entrepreneur for one is a whole different ball game. And it's a lot of fun because you get to challenge yourself in ways that your job as an employee does not allow you to challenge yourself. You like I always say there's nothing that tests your gangster more than entrepreneurship because your business will only be as healthy as you are. Like mentally, physically, spiritually, it will only be as healthy as you are. So if you are impatient or if you are a procrastinator or you have a short temper, that comes out in your business. And then that comes out in the people who want to actually solicit your business. You're pushing them away because of those things. So it's like, it's going to make you look in the mirror. The other thing is, so like do it scared is my point. It's never gonna stop. You're gonna be scared the whole time. Just do it scared. And then the other part is stop waiting for the perfect time because there is no such thing. Like the minute that you start moving your feet and like actually taking the steps to start something, you'd be amazed at how much comes to front of you, how many things come to light. Like opportunities present themselves that you would have never guessed. And it's because you finally decided to start doing something and stop waiting for it to come to you. So basically, just do it. And whether that's a telemedicine practice or not, like I say that all the time, you can start off as wanting a telemedicine practice, and who knows where that actually may take you. There's people in my academy who are like, I don't want to do a telemedicine practice anymore, but I do want to start a community to help women who go through this and this and this. My program still helps them with that because I teach digital marketing. So it doesn't matter what you do, it's the digital marketing aspect. So it's just like, you never know. You can't focus on the final destination because there's so much you're going to miss in the journey. So just start.
Awesome. So Nurse Tifany, how can people find out about you online, social media, and your website?
Yes, I am Telehealthpreneur on every single platform: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Website is Telehealthpreneur. My email is support@telehealthpreneur.com. I offer free webinars that are extremely helpful to a lot of practitioners. I think we've served over 9,000 practitioners at this point with those webinars. Yeah. I get messages and emails from people who have launched their practice because they were eager and hungry just from my free information that I provide. So definitely follow me. Yeah, I am team all practitioners need a side hustle. So if you choose to do telemedicine, I'd be honored to help you on that journey.
But thank you for your time, Nurse Tifany.
Awesome. You're welcome. Thank you.
This is the Coins, Cashflow, and Conversations podcast, sponsored by Upstate Essential Solutions. Contact me today at dakotagrady.com for help with accounting and taxes and personal finance.